Now, there's one thing I have to be honest, I really enjoy is looking back at the old videos of the appearance judging. Every single thing that I look at appearance judging, and I have on these videos, I can look back at a year, this is 2010, or a place I've been, or an event, and the appearance judging, when they line up the planes and give out the appearance points, I always thought that was a special part of every event. Now, the flying, of course, is the major part of it, but a lot of times the flying will be the wind is blowing or it's something else. But the appearance judging is always a lot of fun, and you always get to exchange some stories, exchange some ideas. Now, in this case, I thought I was in Texas, and Al Rabe was there and I had seen that, of course, the real Al Rabe one, and I didn't get to fly it. He offered that I could fly it, but I let that slip by. Anyway, as we walk down appearance judging here, everyone is different, and that's what makes it interesting, because in my case, I was always looking for new ideas. And every time I'd look at something, I'd try to evaluate and say, do I like that color combination? Do I like that trim? Especially if it's a semi-scale plane, I want to make a decision in my mind. Do I like that, or do I like the Warbird look, or do I like the Reno Air Race look? Now, this year they had some of both. And this is what makes it interesting. Now, actually walking out there with the camera and shooting the footage, yeah, that's one special thing. But then to be able to go back, and I'm going to explain how I would do this anyway, and I used it to my advantage as a modeler, is I would go and shoot all the appearance planes. I was always pretty conscious of trying to include everybody, because I always pictured that maybe a couple of years down the road, I'd want to look back and see what so-and-so's plane was like, see how I liked that, again, that color combination or the striping on the wing or something. But then what you can always do, and there's a good example right now, is you can freeze frame it. Oh, let's see how that adds tribute. And did I like that cockpit? Do I like that trim? Do I like the little bird on the rudder? Do I like, or don't I like it? I could just eliminate that out of my plan. Well, that's the advantage of having something on video. Now, being able to post it on YouTube for people, and this is many years later, that you can look back. Some of these people, of course, the sad part of it is some of the people on the video have already passed away. Sad to say that, and of course, that's a sad part of anything in life as you get old. But looking back at some of the things, now an example here, coming up on various color combinations, kind of a Billy Werwich thing with the multicolored trim. The Tsunami, now when I did my Tsunami, I did the red version, but I had seriously considered doing this version. And this is the early one of the two. The red one was the later of the two. And it always gave me a look, hey, how did that look? How did that come out? Yeah. But now I could very easily look back at almost every plane here, and I'd kind of look in my mind. I'd make decisions, because I'd always be looking forward to, in my case, what was I going to build next? And I built a lot of stunt models over my career, a lot of them. And even the ringmasters. And sometimes you get an idea from the simplest thing, the Noblers. And I always thought, when I would interact with George out at BRODAK, and George Aldrich, of course, was a lot of fun to hang around with. And we had some back and forth arguments about who was the coolest guy, Bob Palmer or George Aldrich, and I always tortured him with that. Anyway, I guess they're going to fly half-ace stunt here. I don't remember that. But that's the beauty of video. The beauty of video is you can put it on stop. In this case, this is a paint job. I said, that really looks to me like it works pretty good. The red, the white, the black lettering, kind of classic, very dignified. But you can always look back at it. And if you don't have this video, then the definition of nostalgia is a place or a time or a thing you can't go back and do it over again. And once they've passed, if you can't go back and relive this day, well, video is the second best thing. Now, I get a lot of entertainment, a lot of fun And looking back at these videos, and the Spitfires especially, how many Spitfire paint jobs did Joe and I go through in our mind, and how many books and magazines, and on my trip to England, I must have taken 100 pictures of real Spitfires. And Joe Adamusco and I, Joe, I can't imagine you didn't do anything different. Joe every year would have a new plane, a new paint job, always looking for something new. And this is one of the ones, by the way, that I really like, this one in particular. And with the like lightning bolt trim everywhere, I thought that was pretty creative, and his choice of colors. That floated my boat, believe me. I have a lot of pictures of that. I still have them in my shop, in fact. But looking around and getting ideas, and of course Joe being one of the top craftsmen that I've ever known, but every single plane at appearance judging, if you can put it on stop and you can look at it, evaluate it, say, hey, how about that? Look at that. How did that trim work out? Or how would that whole trim look if instead of yellow you made it red or maroon or whatever? And I've heard from so many people, email, comments on the video, that they really do enjoy looking at these nostalgic, I call it a nostalgic trip back in time, Bob Lampione's plane. This was a really, really well-finished plane. I don't think you really see the quality of the finish in real life here that it had in real life. A beautiful plane and very unique colors and trim and everything. Again, just one example of why I think a video is useful for a lot of things. Having this old stuff of Mike Palco, old video when he was doing the checkerboard on this plane, I remember interacting with him on these checkerboards, and looking back, boy, did he go on to have a great career with the electrics and just in stunt in general. So, and I'm sure he's one of the most fun guys I've ever known anyway. And that's a part you can't really define. But anyway, the older planes, the classic looking planes, old-time stunt planes, there's always something going on in my mind that I'm always trying to look for. How can I use that? How can I take advantage of that? And I know a lot of people don't do that. I'm not sure why they don't, but again, I've used the video as a kind of a learning tool or something. I don't know what you would even call it. I used to actually, and people don't believe I did this, but on the way to the Nats, I would see trailer trucks go by with different paint jobs on the cabs of the trailer, different colors. And I'd think, wow, that's something I want to use, that stripe going down the side. Or I'd look at the boats, the offshore racing boats, for ideas for paint jobs. There's no end to it. But the appearance judging was always one of the things that I thought was a pretty useful tool for any modeler. And it's useful in another way, that a lot of times I will look at this and I'll see something, I said, I totally forgot that. I saw that in real life, I have it on video, and I totally forgot it. Now, Les's stilettos, how many stiletto-like planes were there in the world? How many copies of a stiletto? And how many different paint jobs can you put? And yet, the classic ones that are relatively simple to do always seem to impress everybody, including me. And the GB, oh man, I remember seeing this fly. So many cool things. And BRODAK was well known for people just wanted to come out and have some fun. And how many pattern masters were there? How many in the world? You could go on from Mike Rogers to Bob Barron, everybody that made it. I made so many of them, but disguised them as cardinals. And Big Jim always got annoyed about that. He always wanted me to make one look like that. I always wanted to make one custom, but we still had a great relationship for over 15 years. And thank you for all the things that he taught me. Amazing. The cardinals. There was a time at BRODAK, it might have been this year, when on every circle there was a cardinal flying, a profile BRODAK cardinal. And it just happened that George Aldrich and I noticed that at the same time. And I said, I don't see four Noblers flying at the same time. Of course, it was just a random thing. But looking back, all of the fun you can have with just looking at planes in the pits is a unique paint job. Now, if you're always looking for something, there's a better chance you'll find it than if you're not looking at all. And some of the paint jobs, here's a twin engine plane. Yeah, well, I made 3 twin engine planes, you know, and I made more, but 3 real semi-scale ones. But twin engine planes always got me wanting to run over and look at them and see them fly. And I think Bob Whiteley made a bunch of them. I'm not sure. Paul Walker, of course, made the B-17. Thunderbolts. I don't know how many Thunderbolts I've seen, but this is a really nice one here with kind of a Reno Air Race look paint job. And that's always what makes looking around at things, you can always look at how would that look with a Warbird paint job, or the Stars and Bars paint job, or here. And when Brian made his copy with that really exotic paint job, I remember Brian Manow made one of these, and he put that paint job on, and he really detailed it out with the airbrush and everything. When he brought that out, I was really impressed. And of course, there's always the traditional Warbird. If you make a P-51, the traditional, you copy a Warbird or you copy a Reno Air Race. Either one, it's just pretty cool. Good ideas, good nostalgia, and I always think if you can just kick back at your TV. This is 14 years after the event, 14 years later, and look back at some of the things that you might have shared with me in your life. I try to share in my life, and Scott Richland, wow, I remember seeing this plane fly. That was a really good flying plane. And I know Scott has commented on the videos. Hey, everybody that's commented, guys, I appreciate the comments, good, bad, and ugly, it doesn't matter. Tell me what you think. I'll try to make more videos in the future. I don't want to ever forget to thank Ray Dory, who donated most of the discs that I've used to recreate some of these videos. Ray Dory used to cook for us. He'd make jambalaya. He did it. Just couldn't be any better. And Ray, thank you so much for donating these discs back. These are really a special part of my involvement with stunt over the years, being at so many BRODAKs over the years, and I don't have a single bad memory of any of it. It made my life very special in a lot of ways. And I hope that by having this and by being able to recreate it and retell the story 14 years later, even a Mikey Palco story, I hope the whole thing is just basically fun for everybody and something you'll enjoy, something you'll be able to share with people long into the future. YouTube is a wonderful way to share things, and I hope in reality that you have enjoyed all the videos I've posted. If you have, please take a second and hit the like button. And guys, thank you one and all so much for watching the video.